I told you that Van Jones was not having a good week. Now he's on his second not good week. Barack Obama is not having a good week. Not having a good week after a recent statement that he made that even has Miss Rachel coming after Barack Obama. Let's see what he said. Oh boy. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians with the support of the US and the entire world community to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve lasting peace. What was interesting about this is at the bottom here, he says common humanity and basic rights of both people. But at the very beginning of his statement, he made it very clear that he didn't even consider the humanity of both people. What really stood out to me about this post here from Barack Obama is that he said suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza. And I paused for a second and I was like, huh? Why is it the Israeli families, but when it comes to the Palestinian, the people of Gaza? Palestinians don't have families? And at first I thought maybe it's just me. Then I started to notice other people were calling it out too. Because what Barack Obama did there, as much as he wants to talk about humanity, he also dehumanized the Palestinian people by saying the Israeli families and then saying people of Gaza. Barack Obama was letting you know that the Palestinian people, number one, he was alluding to the fact that they don't have families. And two, notice he just called them the people. He didn't call them Palestinian. He didn't even call them Arab, just the people. So it's a dehumanizing statement. And this isn't the first time that Barack Obama has done that. I don't think it's a mistake. I think Barack Obama is doing this intentionally. Now, a number of people, like I said, were not too happy about this. Even the Middle East Eye, they published it. Ceasefire, Gaza ceasefire. Obama is criticized for both siding genocide. Critics say X posts by the former US president downplays Palestinian victims of war and ignores decades of Israeli violence, which I will show you he was well aware of in just a second. So we go here. Social media accusers have accused Barack Obama of dehumanizing Palestinians and both siding a genocide. Let's get into some of those posts here. Here's one here from Ian Higgins. Can't help but notice the wording. Israel has families. Gaza just has people. Here's another one here. A direct response to Barack Obama. This is one of the most racist posts I'm seeing after the end of a genocide. People of Gaza, no families in Gaza, no hostages from Gaza held for months, no Palestinian hostages who died in Israeli concentration camps, no Palestinian families who Israel wiped out. Yeah, there's more. A graceless, dehumanizing statement. It's a genocide, not a conflict. And Palestinians have families too, some of which were shattered even today. There can never be peace without justice until Israel is held accountable for its crimes. It has no incentive to desist. So, yeah, man, People not happy. People not happy at all. And Barack Obama, again, knows exactly what he's doing. So here you go. You have someone who, Barack Obama, knowing how people dehumanized him when he won the presidential election, he then passes on that dehumanization to another group of people. And Obama turned out to be not who we thought he was going to be. For those of us who did support him, I thought Obama was going to be a big change. He was not a big change. And I remember, even when he first won, I remember people like, there were pictures of Barack Obama being hung from a tree. I remember all this stuff, all the racist things that were against him. The way how Benjamin Netanyahu wouldn't even acknowledge him the same way he would acknowledge the white presidents who came before him. And Barack Obama, again, decides to take that same type of energy and use it against another group of people. Anything to be a part of the club. Someone else came after him, and that was Miss Rachel. You guys know Miss Rachel. She loves the children. They tried to come after Miss Rachel. The Zionists tried to come after Miss Rachel because she said she loves all the children. Isn't that crazy? Dear President Obama, I saw in your statement you said Israeli families and the people of Gaza. Palestinians have families too. This kind of language contributes to dehumanization. Dehumanization is part of what caused so many to stay silent as 20,000 children were killed in this genocide. I've sat with wonderful Palestinian families from Gaza. They look at their children just like we look at ours, with all love and hope in the world. Now that is from Miss Rachel. The thing is, people are assuming that Barack Obama doesn't realize what he said, but he does realize what he said. That makes it even worse. Barack Obama knows exactly who the Palestinian people are, where they came from, what they've been through. But Barack Obama decided that if he wanted to be a part of electoral politics, he wanted a career, he wanted to be president of the United States, he made a decision a long time ago. And that decision was to ignore the colonialism, to ignore the dehumanization and the displacement of the Palestinian people, join along with AIPAC so that he could have this political career that he wanted. Barack Obama knows this. The same guy who had Rahm Emanuel as one of his advisors. Rahm Emanuel, the same guy that went on to lie about the murder of Laquan McDaniel in Chicago. Barack Obama never corrected what Rahm Emanuel said. Rahm Emanuel, another Zionist, he decided to let's pull back from focusing on the oppressed people and let me align myself with the people who are doing the oppressing so that I can have a political career. And I want to show you something else. See, a lot of people don't know about this. Did you know that when Obama was coming to Ramallah, there were protests in Ramallah? This was about 12 years ago, or this was posted 12 years ago. People forget this, but people were protesting against him. And I want to show you some of the signs. Watch this. You see the signs say no hope, and that's because Barack Obama ran on hope and change. And he also said we're going to end the wars in the Middle East. Of course, didn't make that happen. He sided with Israel. Like I said, another one, he said a lot of good things to get elected. But once he got in there, he turned out to be just like the predecessors who came before him, especially when it comes to geopolitics and in the Middle East in particular. Ramallah, that's an important place. There was a statue of Nelson Mandela in Ramallah. Nelson Mandela stood with the Palestinian people. He didn't stand with Israel. Barack Obama knows this. You see, when Barack Obama was in college, at one point, he did stand with those oppressed. He stood with the Palestinian people. He stood with the struggle for the Palestinians. He did not stand with Israel. And this is what I said before about how AIPAC and Kufi, they will get a hold of people like him and say, okay, you want this political career, you're going to have to make a couple of changes. And that's what they do. And you can find this information online. So let's continue watching it here. There's one more I want to show you. This sign here says U.S. funds apartheid. So do you see? That was for Barack Obama's visit. That wasn't for Netanyahu's visit. That wasn't for Donald Trump's visit. That wasn't for Biden's visit. That was for Barack Obama's visit because he promised all this hope and change. And he turned out to be a joke. A joke. Now, to show you what I mean, because it took me a minute to find this video. This video sometimes can be hard to find. To show you what I mean, that Barack Obama knows exactly what he is doing. Barack Obama on Palestine. So this was years ago. I just want to show you. Listen to this.
Their right to justice must also be recognized. And put yourself in their shoes. Look at the world through their eyes. It is not fair that a Palestinian child cannot grow up in a state of their own, living their entire lives with the presence of a foreign army that controls the movements, not just of those young people, but their parents, their grandparents.
Pause. Now, all of a sudden, Palestinians have families. Do you hear what he said? They control the movements, not just of their families, but their grandparents, their parents. Let's go back to that. This is why I'm telling you, he knew exactly what he was doing.
It is not fair that a Palestinian child cannot grow up in a state of their own, living their entire lives with the presence of a foreign army that controls the movements, not just of those young people, but their parents, their grandparents, every single day.
Pause. So that is Barack Obama acknowledging that Israel controls the movements, which would then make Israel an apartheid state. You know, people act like these videos don't exist.
It's not just when settler violence against Palestinians goes unpunished. It's not right to prevent Palestinians from farming their lands or restricting a student's ability to move around the West Bank or displace Palestinian families from their homes. Neither occupation nor expulsion is the answer. Just as Israelis built a state in their homeland, Palestinians have a right to be a free people in their own land.
Pause. So does everybody see what just happened there? He also admitted that Israel was occupying the people.
I'm going off script here for a second, but before I came here, I met with a group of young Palestinians from the age of 15 to 22. And talking to them, they weren't that different from my daughters. They weren't that different from your daughters or sons. I honestly believe that if any Israeli parent sat down with those kids, they'd say, I want these kids to succeed. I want them to prosper. I want them to have opportunities just like my kids do. I believe that's what Israeli parents would want for these kids if they had a chance to listen to them and talk.
No, they wouldn't. They don't care about those children. Again, they see them all as, what do they say? They're animals. They say, you know, they're savages. That's what Netanyahu likes to use a lot. They wouldn't have that opinion. But what this video shows you is that Barack Obama knew exactly what was happening to the Palestinian people.
Talk to them. I believe that. Now, only you can determine what kind of democracy you will have. But remember that as you make these decisions, you will define not simply the future of your relationship with the Palestinians, you will define the future of Israel as well. As Ariel Sharon said, I'm quoting him, "It is impossible to have a Jewish democratic state at the same time to control all of Eretz Israel. If we insist on fulfilling the dream in its entirety, we are liable to lose it all.
And that was the hope that a lot of people had. They thought that, okay, but Barack Obama seems to be more sympathetic about the Palestinian cause than other presidents that came before him. And yeah, it was just all talk. It was all talk. Now, here's Barack Obama now. Here is him today talking about democracy. And I just want to play this to prove a point.
Like many of you, I've become increasingly concerned about the rising wave of authoritarianism sweeping the globe. We're seeing politicians target civil society, undermine freedom of the press, weaponize the justice system. And no one is being spared. Even countries that thought they were immune from wholesale assaults on democracy now understand we're all part of this struggle.
There's that word again, democracy. Right?
That's an enormous challenge, but it also means we can learn from each other. I recently sat down with 3 leaders who are part of the Obama Foundation's alumni network to discuss their work in Hungary and Poland, 2 countries on the leading edge of confronting autocracy. People like Stefania, Sandor, and Susanna, they give me hope. And it's why a big part of our mission here at the Foundation is to connect, inspire, and empower leaders like them.
What does he mean when he says empower? So do you see this? Barack Obama probably was one of the biggest con games out there for younger people, because a lot of younger people came out to support Barack Obama in 2008. Big con game, right? And when all else fails, let's try to draw your attention to another part of the world. Let's try to draw your attention to Poland and Hungary. Last time I checked, Poland's doing just fine. He's kind of leading into the whole Russia thing with this. But last time I checked, they seem to be doing just fine. There are things that people have in Poland that we do not have here. They have universal policies in Poland that we don't have here. So last time I checked, people in Poland seem to be okay. Let me try to turn your attention to this direction so that you're not focused on what is coming. Because you guys know tomorrow is that Gaza, the peace summit, the so-called peace summit that's happening tomorrow in the Middle East. And now it's like, let me see if I can turn people's attention in another direction. None of this changes the fact that he was dehumanizing Palestinians, but it wasn't an accident. And I think this is the part that some people may get wrong. When you stop and think that, oh my gosh, what did he just say? You have to correct this, Obama. You can't say that. He doesn't realize what he just said. You are already playing their game. When you start thinking it was a mistake, you're already playing their game. It is not a mistake. He knows exactly what he's saying. This is not the first time he has done something like this. And he's been corrected multiple times before. So Barack Obama, and this is the sad part. The sad part is when you see people who have already been through this type of dehumanization, which he had, start to use that against other people just so that they can fit in with the club. It's similar situation what we talked about before, what we see in Israel, the Zionist Ethiopians, who were also discriminated against, are willing to look down on the Palestinian people so that they can still fit in the Israel club, even though Israel sterilized Ethiopian women against their will. They are willing to overlook that and still dehumanize the Palestinian people because at least they're not those people. You get what I'm saying? At least they're not at the very bottom. So they are willing to play along with the oppressors, with the occupation, because they're like, I'd rather be on this team than to be over there with them, even though they know that it's wrong. That's the sad part. Now, Barack Obama is not Ethiopian. But Barack Obama knows exactly what he's doing. And the reason why so many people are, retweeting him and calling him out and all these things is because, again, we're just not going to take it. We're not going to take it. There was a time when Barack Obama was beloved by many people. I think his star has faded. Whether it was him saying black men are the reason for Kamala not doing well and calling out black men and calling out black people in front of the CBC, whether it is the dehumanization of Palestinians, whatever it has been, the star that Barack Obama once had has now faded. And I think even more younger people are starting to see him and all these other neoliberals for what they really are: frauds, war criminals, and honestly, gangsters. They're gangsters in suits. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.